NCI meeting in Seattle. The government sent me up there to represent them. But when I got up there, there was a big, tremendous room, and it was full of Indians. Nothing but Indians all over the place. And then it had a stage up there with about 8 people sitting there, all young guys. And the guy got up there and introduced all of them because they were our leaders of the Indian nation. And I looked and I thought, geez, those guys are just in their early 20s, and they're leaders in our nation. I said, well, how did they become our leaders? And every one of them were lawyers. So right then and there, I decided, well, I'm going back to school, I'm going to get my undergraduate degree, and then I'm going to go to law school. Well, in the meantime, I got promoted to government. I got moved down to New Mexico, and that happened to be the school that I applied to go to law school at. And by the time I was stationed up at Fort Berthold, that's where I was working at. That's in North Dakota on the reservation. And I moved down to Albuquerque, and I'd also applied for a grant for graduate degree from, I think it was Taos, New Mexico. They were giving grants or something back then. I'd applied for all that, and I got back to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and about a month later I got all this news. You are accepted by the University of New Mexico to go into law school. You got your grant. Here, school's been going on a month. I couldn't get in. So I told my wife, I said, I'm just going to take a couple of law classes at night. I work all day. So at nighttime I took a couple of law classes. You know what? I'm not a lawyer. I found out that's not I don't like it at all. There's nothing I like about being a lawyer. I mean, you have to be a special person to be a lawyer. I just didn't like it. But what it did show me was that I was there to deal with people. And that's my whole background. I've been dealing with people all of my life. Most of my positions has always been government management, top management, directors and stuff like that. But I still had to deal with the lower class people and the people themselves. There's several things that I want to try to do. I can't do it myself, but Eleanor got some good ideas. She's got the tribe at her heart. Mr. Burgess over there, he's a very smart man. He's been in a lot of positions. He's done a lot of things too. He's got the tribe at the heart. The people that's running right now that I know of got the tribe at heart. I can't fault any one of them, and I can't tell you which one's going to be the best. You are the governing people. You're the governing body. You're the one that's going to make up your mind who you want to run your multi-million-dollar business. And I hope to pray that you do right. I mean, it's going to be you when things go wrong. We were talking about the layoffs. Housing Authority just had 11 layoffs over there. And why? Because of management. Management in the Housing Authority mismanaged money for about 8 years before they found it. They found it, and now they're living off of a budget from 205 or 204. But they had to have the budget. They went that far back, and they had to pay HUD so much money back. And what they did is they laid off all these people. Now, this ain't the right time to lay off people. This is the worst time to lay off people. And just last week, I heard they were laying off at the complex, all because somebody didn't know what they were doing as far as budgeting their money. They say it's over budgeted, and now we're laying off more people at the tribe. And why? It's because of management. We put people in jobs, like Johnny says. We got them in there, and there's rumors about they're not doing anything, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. Well, you, the governing body, has elected a tribal administrator. That tribal administrator is supposed to run the tribe itself. He's supposed to run all those guys at the complex. And you know what? Do we have a job description for what that guy's supposed to do? How many knows that?
How can they have a job description, what he's supposed to do, when they don't even have a job description of the one that they hire?
What I'm saying is, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that before anybody could run for that position, they need to be qualified.
Yeah.
There needs to be some qualifications put down, and I think there is. But that doesn't mean that the guy that's got the qualifications can get in there. How many of you guys know their qualifications? No? Nobody? That's another thing that's going on with the tribe. You as the governing body, you're supposed to know what's going on. You can't make a decision without knowing what's going on. Do they come out here and they send you flyers? Do they do anything to say, okay, this is what's happening in the tribe? We spent $20,000 over here. We spent $50,000 over here. Do you know about that? No. How are you going to run your multi-million-dollar business if you don't know what's going on? You've got to create a program where you can find out what's going on so you can make some very informative decisions on where you're going to go. That's all there is to it. I know that during the past, it's Comanche way, and I'm not going to knock it. We elect our brothers, our cousins, our sisters, because they're our family. I don't care, supposedly we're not supposed to have any felons. We're not supposed to have anybody that's shamed the Comanche tribe. I've had them come up to me and tell me, you ain't winning because you're not a felon. I told them, I said, but I've been to jail one time. They said, well, what happened? How'd you go to jail? And I said, we were out at Chicken Shack, and I was 14 years old and put in jail for turkey. Rance's fault. I don't know how many guys know Rance. We spent the night in jail, and my sister come got us out the next morning, and we was going home, and my mother saw us. She was going to the jail to get me. I went back home, and I made Rance get off with me, and she beat the hell out of both of us. Anyway, we have budgeted, one other thing, we have budgeted for, and I want to say this because I'm getting up in the age, not because I'm going to use it, but we have budgeted for a home for elders, nursing home or whatever you want to call it. We have budgeted 2 years now for it, and basically nothing's been done. An ideal place, like Mike says, this is Mike's idea. He said, I'd like to see one built, and we build it right there by the hospital so they can come over and check on our elders when they need it. Well, we've been budgeted for 2 years. Last year, I understand, they don't know where the money is, don't know where it went. But this year, if you look at the budget, we got $200,000 that's in that budget. But you know what? What good is $200,000 or $400,000 or $500,000 or $1 million if we don't know any feasibility study, don't do a feasibility study, don't go out and do anything about knowing how we're going to go about it? We can build a building, that's not going to be a problem. But we build a building for a reason. And if we build that building for a reason, we got to know who we're going to have in there to treat our people. We got to know what kind of business that is, and before we get into that business, we're going to know how to get money, or know how to not make money, but know how to get money to fund this. There's all kinds of grants. There's also the nursing homes now. I think when you go in there, what they do is they take your Social Security, and that's a very minute part of what you have to pay to run one of those things. But we need to get in there and think about what we're going to do and where we're going to go with it. We can't be jumping off the cliff, throwing money over here and money over there. You were talking about the breakdown of the casinos. Why do the casinos do this? Let me give you the breakdown. You as a governing body elect a CBC. The CBC in turn says, oh, we can't handle that, we can't handle that, so we're going to get a board in there. The board basically runs the CEO. He has to answer them. That's the only person that works for the board. And that goes in all the operations. You got the housing board, it's the same thing. Basically, it's what the CBC does. I'm not going to say if they don't want to handle it. They may see it, and that's the best way to do it. They appoint a board, and that's the people that run there. But the CBC is responsible. The CBC also has supervisors responsible over the TNA. But that's all, the TA. just supervisor responsibility. And that, as I understand right now, they're having a big fight over there. Mike probably able to tell you a little bit more about it. I think I've talked too much already. Has anybody got any questions? Anybody want to know anything about me or